Hello, Blue Jackets fans, and welcome to another edition of Where Are They Now, presented by Huntington Bank, where we catch up with many of the popular names and faces from 20 years of Blue Jackets hockey. And we certainly have another one of those here with us today, and former Blue Jackets goaltender Pascal Leclaire. Pazzy, good to see you. How are you doing these days?
Good to see you. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. With everything going on right now, we're doing okay. So.
Well, that is great to hear. Obviously, want to catch up. We're in the 20th anniversary celebration of Blue Jackets hockey. A lot of fans obviously remember you from your days here with the team. You were a 2001 draft pick, first-round pick, I believe 8th overall in that draft. And just what do you kind of remember to start things off here about what it was like when you were picked by Columbus and just the excitement of what that brought and coming off a great junior career, getting the chance to come here and play for the Jackets?
Yeah, well, draft day was a big, obviously with any NHL players, you have to go through it, and but most of them. Very excited day, and to be quite honest, I from what we heard before the draft, I thought it was going to be more Chicago or New York. I knew they were looking for a goalie, and then Columbus was picking before them at pick number 8, and I met them several times. I met Rick Wamsley, Doug McLean, and had some good interviews, but they never gave me a hint that they needed a goalie, especially with Mark Denis being still a young guy in the organization. Yeah. It was a bit of a curveball that came my way when I heard my name, but very, very excited. It was a brand new franchise, and I knew if they were they were picking me that high, that they would give me an opportunity to hopefully play in the NHL. So.
Yeah, and of course it did end up working out that way. You started though with Springfield and getting the chance to kind of learn how to be a pro.
Syracuse back then.
Yeah,
long time.
And just what was that experience like though? As you're coming out of the queue, and then you have to kind of this beginning the days of kind of learning how to be a pro, and certainly riding some buses and things like that. Just what was that experience like as you kind of got your feet wet there at the minor league level?
Yeah, well, the buses were fine because in Quebec I played in Halifax and Montreal, and then we pretty much. Couple first year in Halifax wasn't too bad, but the rest of the last couple of years of my junior career has pretty spent half my life on the bus. So I was used to that. So that wasn't a big change. But what I remember is like you mentioned, is learning to be a pro. And then in junior you have your billet, you have your meals cooked for yourself. Then when you turn pro, you're all on your own. Just living on your own was a totally different thing, and kind of managed the extra time. So it took me a few months. I had a rough start, to be honest, in Syracuse up till probably January, and then I started making, putting the pieces of the puzzle together and starting to figure it out. And I think Rick Wamsley back then was our goalie coach. He was tough on me, but he was good. He was good for me. I learned the hard way, but he really taught me and told me what to do to become a good pro. And when I bought in, when you're 19, 20 years old, it takes a bit more time sometimes. But when I started listening a bit more, I kind of figured it out, and then I was on the right track. So.
Yeah, for sure. When I was 19 or 20, I was not getting ready to be a pro goaltender, so I can only imagine what that was like, but that's neither here nor there. You mentioned Rick Wamsley there. You mentioned Mark Denis, a guy I'm sure you were probably excited to play with, being a fellow French-Canadian just like him. Who are some of the guys, whether it was those guys or some of the guys you played with that kind of stand out from your Blue Jackets career as guys you enjoyed playing with, guys maybe you stay in touch with, or just guys you have good memories of from that time?
Well, you mentioned Rick Wamsley. I think he was the first who he was part of the team that drafted me. I know he scouted me a few times, and I learned quite a bit from Rick. And like I mentioned before, he's the first one who taught me how to be a pro, and then to think like a pro. And then the plan with him was always in conversation is to become a number one guy, and how to prepare yourself to do so, and be accountable towards your teammates. So I learned quite a bit of that with him. Mark Denis, obviously being from the same place, was a good influence for me, kind of put me at ease, was able to talk to him. His family was really nice to me. And even when I started to perform and playing some minutes with him, he was always by my side giving me tips, and he was a great veteran. He was, I've said it many times in the past that he was great to me, and then he helped me quite a bit. And he actually made my transition from the AHL to the NHL a lot easier because he was around.
Yeah.
Obviously, Clint Malerchuk too was another goalie coach that I had a great time with, and I had a couple good years with him. And for players, I mean, we were a young team, but I mean, we had some good players. My roommate Rick Nash is I think I roomed with Rick for about like 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And so we're almost like a little couple, huh? Going to dinner every night and then watching movies and going to bed. So I have some good memories, and Rick's one of the few guys that I still I keep in touch with. So I mean, so many guys. Obviously, Adam Foote when he came in to when he signed as a free agent was I think he was one of the first big free agent name coming in and kind of helped to establish a winning mentality.
Yeah.
Ken Hitchcock was there as well. Freddie Modine. I mean, I could keep going, but we were Michael Pekka, Sergei Fedorov. We had some big names that kind of teach us, the younger guys, how to become good NHL players. So.
Yeah, for sure. And we're lucky we get to see Rick here every day now on a regular basis. So I guess we're kind of like you were back in the day where we get to see him all the time.
Oh, I know. I heard the Blue Jackets invented a job for him. I'm like one of those guys. Every team has one or two guys. You don't really know what they're doing, but they're on the payroll. I always give him a hard time for that. But no, I think it's good for the team. Obviously, Rick is such a big part of the community, and he's a quiet guy, but he knows his stuff. He knows the game, and he can. He's a great asset for the team, and it's great to see him back involved with the Blue Jackets. So.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to see him every day. And so switching back kind of to your career, you know, 5 years with the Blue Jackets. Your best season, I think, was 2007, 2008. I think you had 6 shutouts in the first 15 games and then ended up with 9 shutouts that year. Just what do you kind of remember about as you kind of got your game going there and having a year like that where you stood out? And I think you got some votes for the All-Star game, things like that. And it kind of felt like your career was starting to get going there as time went by.
Yeah, I guess I guess it was a little bit of everything coming together. A few years in the minors. I had a couple years under my belt. I was hurt the year before, so I had a knee problem that took a while. And then I remember I had a long summer of training, so I probably came in pretty good shape. And obviously the team was focusing with Ken Hitchcock. We had a defensive system as well put in place that the guys were able to practice. To put in place a few months at the end of the season, the season before. So we had a good start as a team, and it just I guess some nights I guess the puck was rolling my way, and when you get shutouts, it takes a bit of luck too, right? So yep. And it's a team effort. So yeah, I was feeling good and was able to carry that play during the season. It's just too bad, you know, like everybody is like the big thing back then. I remember is we were trying to. For the first time to have a push to make the playoffs was something that we weren't able to do before that, and then it didn't happen that year. But it was the first year I think as a group we says okay maybe like it's going to come in the near future. So.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned injuries there. I think that was obviously something that followed you throughout your Blue Jackets career, and then when you ended up going to Ottawa as well. I read a quote from Ken Hitchcock as I was kind of doing some research here, just about you were such a competitive guy that even in practice you kind of pushed yourself, put a lot of stress on your body just because of that. Just how tough was it to battle those injuries, and would that kind of maybe play a part just where you were the competitiveness even allowed you to it was hard to turn that off maybe and kind of made it tough on you to stay healthy?
Yeah, well, it's never fun to be hurt. Obviously, with my career, like you said, like I wasn't lucky. I got hurt quite often, and whenever I got hurt, it seemed like they were long injuries. Like I had a long knee injury, ankle injury, my hip injury. That's what kind of made me stop. I ended my career in Ottawa, so another rehab. Very frustrating when you're hurt. Especially at the pro level, you have to answer the questions every day.
And guys like me, right?
Yeah, and then you know what I'm talking about. And then it becomes really frustrating because you want to play the game. You don't want to be the guy that doing rehab every day, and the guys leave for the road. They play the games, and you're back in the dressing room watching it on TV. You want to be out there with your teammates. So very frustrating, very tough, and when you're in it, it's hard to, because there's not a whole lot of people that understand except your teammates. So
Yeah.
it becomes a lonely world a bit. But you know what? It is what it is. It's part of my journey, I guess, and
Yeah.
then I have to go through it.
Yep. And then I know you were back here in at least 2007, came back for a couple events and probably got to see some fans, see some former teammates. Just what was it like as you get the chance to come back to Columbus? I don't know how often you are able to make it down here, but just what are those experiences like when you do get to return and kind of relive those memories a little bit?
Well, yeah, I got lucky to come back a couple of times after I left, and I think the last time I was in town was maybe 2 years ago during the summer for a fan festival that they brought up some alumni, and the city quite actually changed quite a bit, especially downtown around the rink. Like I remember I used to live right by the arena, and there weren't that many restaurants except Buka and then
Yeah.
like a few other places, and now the whole downtown has changed quite a bit. And I always enjoy Columbus a lot, and that's something I tell my family that one day I'll bring the kids to show them where I played for a few years. I mean, the fans were always great to me. That's what I've been lucky to always have positive feedbacks from them, even when I was hurt, and even through sometimes the rough games. And the organization too was great to me. So I have nothing to say. When I look back, when you're in it, you don't realize that stuff that much. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty lucky that I started my career in Columbus. It was a great place to start for me. And obviously Ottawa too was a great spot. So I got lucky that the boat organization treated me well, and the fan base were nice to me too. So.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask a little bit about the fans as well. Just what do you kind of remember about the fan base? Because obviously there were some lean years there in the beginning, but the fans here really have kind of stuck by the team through thick and thin, and you got to kind of see it firsthand.
Yeah, no, they did, and that's what I tell everybody. Like, especially being from Montreal, huh? Like it seems
Yeah.
that Columbus, the Blue Jacket, exists only in the last few years. Like, people are a bit disconnected here. And says, "Oh, I was in Columbus, a small market, and everything like that." Says, "Well, it was when I played there. It was sold out every night. There was 18,000 people every night. Great atmosphere in the rink. So no, it's a great place to play hockey. Great city, great people." Um, I mean, I think that's why they still doing well at bringing guys in, and then a lot of guys that played in Columbus. I know that's what Rick told me. They retired and they stay in Columbus because the community in the town is great. So, now for me, I have nothing bad to say about the city or the team. I had a great time there, and then I feel lucky that I was able to play in Columbus. So.
Yeah, and so we do call this thing "Where Are They Now?" I believe you are, as we talked previously, up in the outskirts of Montreal. Just what are you up to these days, and what's it like being kind of home? I guess.
Not well. It's good to be home. When I retired, I came back home. My wife is from the just outside Montreal, from the same suburbs when I grew up too, and so we decided to come back here. And I have two kids now, two daughters, 5.5 and 2 year old. So
Very nice.
pretty much a full-time dad. That's my job right now. So I did a bit of work as an agent with Newport Sport.
Yeah.
I still have some kids, but when my second child was born, I slowed down quite a bit because all the games are on the weekends, and now my older one's starting to ski. She wants to do dance classes and everything. So I'm kind of taking a step back for those young years with the kids, and then pretty much that's what I do. So it's pretty quiet, and especially in the last year with COVID,
Yeah.
I'm not doing a whole lot of exciting stuff like anybody else.
That is true. It's a common theme for everybody. Do you get a chance to play anymore, or ever lace on the skates if the opportunity arises?
Oh yeah, like we in a normal life, we play beer league like 3 times a week. I'm a puck moving defenseman now with slow feet, so I get to play too with the Senators alumni. Ottawa being only a 2 hour drive from my house, I'm
Yeah.
still involved in the community there. We play charity games and raise money for kids and hospitals in the Ottawa region, and I get to see some of the old teammates there, and so I stay busy with these things. So I was a way better goalie than a hockey player. defenseman, but at least it keeps me out. I'm having fun, and then it's I try to be on the ice as much as I can because I enjoy the game. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's great to kind of see you still in the game in some way, and it's great to catch up and great to see your face again, Pezzy. Hopefully, we do it somewhere here in Columbus at some point, or some point up in Montreal. We get to reconnect. But great to have you here on this episode of Where Are They Now?
Well, sounds good. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to talk to you guys in Columbus.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.